guys, welcome to Uncut Gems with Slim. Y'all, it's a new week. I'm super excited. If you are listening for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy something from this week's episode. And if you've tuned in every week, if you're already subscribed, if you've left a rating and a review, shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Uncut Gems with Slim. I'm super excited, guys. This is the first visual episode. First of all, this is episode 10. Y'all, we made it to episode 10. I'm super excited. Again, this is our first visual episode, our episode with a visual element on Uncut Gems with Slim, the official YouTube page for the podcast. And if you notice anything, I have a special guest with me here today, Miss LaShay Price from LaShay Price Photography and Creative Studios. Hey, LaShay.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I am super excited to have you on here as my first guest.
Listen, I am ecstatic and I am honored and I'm so excited to be here, especially to be your first visual guest. Like, that's exciting.
And the first official guest on the podcast, because last month I did my gemstone episode and the guest was me. So you are the first official guest altogether. So I'm super excited to share this moment with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to share in this moment with you.
Yes. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of background of how I know LaShay. We go to church together and we served on the social media team. And when we first met, we had this brief discussion about, oh my gosh, like I'm an influencer. She was like, I'm a photographer and I'm trying to get more into, capturing influencers and just different dynamics and helping people build their brands. And at the time, we did not know what the Lord was hooking up.
I was just telling Javari that last night. I was like just recalling that conversation literally in the parking lot.
Yes, literally.
In the parking lot. And it was literally a conversation and we continued to serve together, but neither one of us had no idea that God was shaped and molded to where like we actually get to like do life together. Like,
right.
Neither one of us seen it coming.
Right. I was like, and then one day I think I saw something and it was on, you did a photo shoot for Bree's birthday and I seen it and I said, oh my gosh. I was like, why have I been asleep on this beautiful woman who be taking her pictures on this step stool in the church house? I've been asleep because literally when I saw those pictures, I was like, Lord, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I was looking for. And I wasn't actively looking, but I wasn't looking in the right places. Like I was just like, oh, she said this is something she's interested in, but like, are we gonna, be active towards it? And so after I seen it, I said, you know what, let me stop playing with the resources that I got in my backyard. And that's when I first hit you up and I was like, and from there, that's all she wrote.
That's the part, like within itself. It's not so much that you're sleeping, it's just that sometimes we get tunnel vision.
Yes.
It's like, oh, well, in the moment, you may not look at it as a needed resource because you have tunnel vision towards the things that you're working on. But when you see it, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, like maybe this is something that I need. And I think that a lot of talent, there's a lot of talent that's out there that sometimes, I'm not going to say can get overlooked, but if you're not searching or you don't have a need for it, then you don't know that it's there.
Or if you're being too independent. And I've been there a lot of times like, oh, like, why am I going to invest in something that I can do myself? I'm a huge person. If it's free, it's for me. So I'm going to learn how to do it before I outsource.
Already. We ain't even started the podcast fully and you're already in. Here are my notes.
Listen, like I'm so glad that I took the time to take a back seat and be like, okay, girl, like you do YouTube, yes, but are you a professional photographer? No. Are you a branding coach? No. You can you can like let that wall down and allow people to help you, because you can be way greater, but you not even know it because you just depending on yourself and you trying to do everything in your own strength. And I was like, I'm so glad I let that go.
And the partnership has been awesome. And you hit the nail on the head. We can be really good in so many different areas, but everything isn't our lane. And
Yes.
sometimes we can get from point A to point B, but sometimes navigating from point A to point B may not be your specialty. And if it's not your specialty, sometimes it's just really letting go of control and allowing someone that it is their profession to help. Because sometimes it's just as simple as it could be the missing link of you elevating to the next level in your brand. So, and
That's
I'm
so good. Yes, I love that. And child, I done got so caught up. I forgot to tell the people that we are in our first series.
yes,
Yes, so this is going to be our Bossed Up Gems series. So this is our first entrepreneurial series, and I'm super excited about this because I want to help all the people who are upcoming entrepreneurs, people who they have to find it all on their own, but they don't really have no resources. For me, coming up as an entrepreneur, I had to do all the research, and I just wish there was someone that I could look to kind of as a mentor a little bit to give me just a little bit of guidance, like not to depend on that person to like get me from 0 followers to wherever I want to be, but someone who can give me vital information that is not readily accessible to people just by Googling it. So, super excited about this series. I have my bossed up queen in the room. So, I'm super excited about that. And I just want to jump into this week's gem. And so, y'all don't judge me. I write everything down. I got it in my little iPad. So, I'm going to read to y'all what we got for this week's gem. And it's basically just about dealing with people. And I feel like we have to remember that all people are people and we should treat them like that. And what I mean by this is like brands, companies, and businesses are all operated by human beings in some way, shape, or form. And we have to be sure that we communicate appropriately and in a manner that we would want to be like spoken to. I feel like something I like to do is make sure I take the time out and be like, well, like, hey, how are you doing today? Before I just jump in like, oh, my rates are this, or no, I don't want to work with you on this, or I'm not interested in. I like to make sure that I'm like, hey, I hope you're doing well, especially during 2020. Like, I hope you and your team are doing well, or you guys are staying safe. Just different things like that, because that can automatically like change the posture of the people you're communicating with. Like, they might be having a bad day. And if you just be like, oh, I'm not interested, or you quote them this high rate, like, they're not going to be as willing to be open to the discussion if you're like just a little bit abrupt with your delivery instead of treating them like as a regular person. And so that can be whether you're doing a phone call, email, or Zoom, things like that. And I just want to make sure we remember to, if we remember to treat people with kindness, will in turn enhance the overall experience. And by providing a pleasureful experience, you can open the door for repeat business. And I feel like that's something that we kind of experience with each other. Like, our first interaction was a pleasureful experience. It's for my end for sure. And like after that, it's like it opened the door for us to continue working together and just enjoying the experience, and it not just so much being a transactional thing, but more of like a relationship you build with brands, relationship you build with different companies and things like that, that helps kind of open that door to repeat business.
and it's basically the first impression. First impression. The first
Yes.
impression for anything, that business aspect, that's relationships, that's friendships. That first impression and that first interaction sets the tone for how things are going to be moving forward. It's going to set the
Yes.
tone if it's going to be a good working relationship, if it's going to be an opportunity where this person is going to invest and want to do business with you. And like you
Mhm.
said, it could be something just as friendly as a greeting because you never know, like on the other end of the person that you're messaging, what their day has been like, what their week is like. So setting that stage to greet the person that you're interacting with really does set the stage for how that continued working relationship will be, or if it will be a continuing, or if it will be a relationship, period. It can potentially be the ultimate deal breaker.
It can, yeah, and I do that. I'll actually do that when I'm in like customer service situations. And I've been in customer service before, so I know how it is. However, I've never worked for like a call center or like the online chatting consultants. But anytime like I have to reach out to someone and it's through like those chats or like over the phone, like I always, because first of all, you're not gonna get nowhere. You're not gonna catch what they say, you ain't gonna catch a bee with honey or something. You know what I'm saying? But like you not gonna really get nowhere. They're not, 9 times out of 10 not gonna show you any favor if you're not like nice to them when you're having the conversation. And so I always be like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" If I see their name in a live chat or something, I'll be like, "Oh, hey Danny, how's your day going?" And 9 times out of 10 they always are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked me that," or "I really appreciate you asking me that," because people just treat them like they're robots sometimes, and I feel like it's very important to learn how to deal with people appropriately.
That is very true.
Yes. And so this leads actually into my main question for you today, which is as a person who provides a service, so you do brand consulting, content creating, photography, webinars, you
Mhm.
got the whole shebang, whatever they need, they bring their brand to you. It's in good hands, it's good in the right hands. So
Right.
as someone as someone who provides a service to many people, you deal with a lot of people firsthand. And so I wanted to know, like, what are the top 3 things you feel are most important when you provide a service to a customer?
Ooh, dealing that's jam packed because I deal with customers firsthand. In
Hmm.
everything that I do as a branding photographer, as a brand coach, like my day to day, honestly, if I'm not behind the camera, I'm literally on the phone
Right. Dealing with people from the inquiry step all the way down to the deliverables.
all the way. Like it's literally, consultations, either figuring out if, if the services that I offer matches their vision. And then it's also
Mm.
from the standpoint of actually now, if they come on board as my client, it's strategy calls to make sure that that visual component of their brand is mapped out before we just show up for a photo shoot. So literally, in a nutshell, I'm a photographer, but I'm also a customer service rep.
You are. You're
I'm,
literally everything.
I'm literally everything because, like you said, it's the ultimate deal breaker if I'm not professional or if I'm not warm and fuzzy when I interact via my website or doing a consultation call. If my ideal clients want to work with me. So if I had to say the top 3 things for me when it comes down to being like a service based business is definitely like thinking through your offerings, like what makes you unique, like what
Yes.
in particular with your product makes you unique. Because for me, there's tons of branding coaches, there's tons of branding photographers, heck, there's tons of photographers in general. But with that, with there being so many, what makes you unique? What product do you offer that's going to make you stand out to your clients? So that would be one.
And
Uh,
let me pause you right there because, sis, your service altogether is unique. Like, I've literally never worked with someone who, like, I feel genuinely cares about my brand as if it was her own. And I feel like that's so important, because a lot of times you have people, especially photographers, who are just about booking, shooting, and that's it. It's just like a transactional thing, but you provide a full experience. So make sure if you're in the Columbia area, anywhere you are, because we got traveling fees too. So yes, if you're interested, make sure y'all check out LaShay. We will share where you can find her at the end of the episode. But I just had to chime in and let y'all know that sis gives you a quality experience.
And I think it's because over time, I've learned that, and I know I get that a lot. Like, I get a lot. Like, last weekend, I had a session, and my client was like, "You made the experience about me the whole time. Like, you showed up with a bottle of water, or you took me to a coffee shop and you bought me coffee. Like, you came with a rolling cart to make sure I had somewhere to put my stuff so I wasn't lugging it." And for me, I know that there's a lot of photographers that are out there that are doing it for $1. But for me, photography and doing helping brands is my ministry. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes a little bit deeper than it just being just another client. No, this is another person that God has assigned to me that I can in turn help make impact. Because if I showed up like not together, it could be the deal breaker of helping to connect somebody with what they're supposed to be doing in life. So
Yeah.
I don't take it lightly. Like, it's literally a ministry for me, because at the end of the customer service and the deliverables, I want my clients to walk away knowing that they were my number one priority. Literally from the time that we talked on the phone to the time that we wrapped up their session to the time that they got their gallery. So it's literally a ministry. And we've kind of already talked about, like, that customer service is that, yet again, a vital thing that every business needs. Like, the customer service has to be on point. Like, I
Yes.
had clients that were rude, that were late. Like, I literally here recently had a client that showed up literally about an hour and something late.
Oh wow.
A whole hour
Late fee.
late fee, because now you're on my time. But
Right.
and when they showed up, I didn't change who I was. The same service that I would have provided to her if she was on time was the same customer service that she got late. She just had a
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't waver my product offering. I still helped button up her shirt. I still fixed her hair. I still all those details that I typically would provide if she was on time, but it's still customer service at the end of the day.
Yes.
So just all those things are things that every entrepreneur should think about. Whether your client, because she was so wrong. She was
Mm-hmm.
wrong. If we're gonna be real, she was wrong. But
Yes.
if I had acted or responded the way that I wanted to in the human nature, I would have burned my business. So I
Bro,
had
why is this so good, man? Because literally, not, I want to say it was episode 7. I talked about responding effectively. And recently, I've been dealing with this brand, and it has not been the most pleasurable experience. And it was really difficult for me to navigate it, because it's like I'm not in the wrong in this situation. And it's like, when people send back stuff for revisions or whatever, it's a way that you can go about it. Like, if I don't like something, I can be like, hey, like, this really isn't going along with the vision that I had, versus, oh, you look this way, or that's not. Mm-mm. And so, when I received that, I'm like, okay, good thing I'm behind a computer screen, because I can pause
because
my emotions.
in your emotions in real life, it could potentially be a deal breaker.
Yes. And so I was like, man, like, I really had, like, I'll call my mom and I'll be like, Ma, I cannot believe, this is going on. And then I'll have to, like, woosah, and then I take me a moment, and then I get back on my email, and then I don't do nice nasty, because nice nasty is nasty at the end of the day. So I have to be like, okay, what can I do to solve the problem? and what's gonna work for me. That's all I can provide to you. But I'm gonna say it in a kind tone, like, oh, thank you for your feedback. This is what I can do to improve it. And it is what it is at that point. But yes, like you said, that's very important in customer service, negotiating, dealing with anybody, any brand, any company. You have to be able to keep that customer service at the forefront and provide a pleasurable experience. So that's so good that you said that. That's crazy, man.
I was like, I had to call Ashley, I had to call Jabari, and I was just sitting here how, like, how dare you? And it was like, okay, if you don't shift this right now, however you shift it, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I have to shift it because I pulled up the contract and all and such or whatever, and I was like, bottom line, she's wrong. Period. There's no way you can. But when I went back and looked at my contract, I didn't have specifics about that. So one, it was a learning lesson. Like,
Yes.
it was a learning lesson. But two, it was like, I don't respond professional, then my brand could potentially be in jeopardy if I don't respond or provide quality customer service. Because at the end of the day, just like Walmart, anywhere, your customer is always right.
Yes, and that was so good because my situation was a learning experience as well because I had to go back to the contract. And now, if you need me to refilm something, baby, it's gonna cost you a fee. Ain't doing
Yeah.
it. One revision is complimentary, man. So it's so dope to know like these experiences. If you learn to respond effectively and provide that good customer service, but it also adds to your tool belt because you're learning like, okay, my contract was good, but I need to make it great because I need to specify if you're within this time frame late, is this late fee. If you're this late, it's this late fee. Or if you a no show, you charge for the whole thing. Like you got to make sure that you are specific with these things. And so, did you have any other tips, or was that your main?
Those were my main ones. Outside that was just timeliness, just making sure that from a customer service standpoint or being a brand and being an entrepreneur, timeliness is so important.
Yes.
Just your response, especially when either if you're product based or service based, like your timeliness with deliverables, your timeliness for responding back, all of those are very, 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 very vital. It can be a
So
deal breaker.
important.
It's very important because you can
Yes.
usually miss out on a lot of opportunities if you don't respond timely to clients. So
Yes, I feel like that's so important in whatever business area that you're in. And so, kind of wrapping up, I wanted to ask all of my bossed up guests this final question. And if you could give one piece of advice to yourself at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, what would it be?
you kind of like covered it in the beginning when you were talking. I thought really long and hard about it, and if I had to give one tip, it would be to invest in yourself.
Oh,
Invest
that's
in your
good.
invest in your brand. For me, when I started out as a photographer, I was like, oh, I can just have my daughter, take my pictures. I can just have my husband take my pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I can just do it by myself. Like I got it. Like I know how to do it.
That sounds familiar.
Like I can just do it. But with that, it can be the deal breaker as to how successful your brand can truly be. And
Yes.
for me, like I didn't realize that until I've been a photographer for 3 years now. Um, and like literally the first year that I actually invested in um, my own branding portraits to put on
Mm-hmm.
like my website and for my social media. And I feel like at that moment, it instantly made my business legit
Yes.
because my customers got to see, oh, this girl ain't out here just posting selfies. She's actually investing in the product that she wants me to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
that would be one tip that I would say for someone that, if I had to go back and do it over again, or for someone that's starting, just take the time, invest in your brand. You don't have to spend bukus of money. There's
Mm-hmm.
tons of different, you can outsource to get what you need, but don't try to be the jack of all trades and the master of none, because it could potentially hinder you from going from here to here as far as how fast or how successful your brand can be. Because that's my
Wow. That's so good. Man, and as you were saying that, I was like, I forgot to tell the good people. This is the host of the Purpose Connector podcast. Okay, we got the Purpose Connector podcast host in the building.
Let's
Jack of all trades,
go.
master of most. Okay. Yes,
Listen,
you got it all.
I definitely think that investing in yourself is definitely, it's vital. It's vital to, honestly, to every aspect of your brand. So it's important.
Yes, it definitely is. Thank you for sharing that tidbit right there for any of our up and coming entrepreneurs. I do want to take a moment to let you guys know that in conjunction with this Bossed Up Gems series on the podcast, we are doing a YouTuber beginner series on my YouTube channel, which is Slim Reshae. And it'll be 3 weeks of jam-packed information, and it's not just for YouTubers or influencers. It really can apply to most entrepreneurs who have to do anything within the digital world, so marketing, all of that. So I'm super excited about that. It's going to be budget friendly. It's going to kind of hit all the areas of whatever level of entrepreneurship you are in. So whether you're starting out and you need to know, like, okay, girl, what do I need to do to start my YouTube channel? What do I need? Can I film on my phone? Different things like that. So we'll be having that starting in October. I'm super excited about it. So make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned for that. We'll also share more things about digital content, how to secure sponsorships, and just much needed advice. So make sure you guys head over to all my socials and let me know what y'all want to see, because I'm going to give the people all the information that they need. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for being my first guest, my first gemstone guest, my first visual guest. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for just being a great mentor, sister, a great person just to be around in general. So I just wanted to thank you. Can you let the people know where they can find you on social, where they can book you for branding, and where they can listen to the podcast?
Woo, y'all in this podcast, not a little. So you can actually find me on social. I am at LaShay Price. I actually just kind of shifted gears just a little bit, and launched the branding shop, which is actually just a spin-off to LaShay Price Photography and Creative Studio. It's just going to be a hub to where other creatives and entrepreneurs can get tips and advice and resources about all things branding, different things from events for those that are local, virtual workshops, quarterly events, and just a platform to build just ultimately community amongst entrepreneurs. And then also there's the Purpose Connector podcast.
Yes.
You can actually go follow that page. It's just at the Purpose Connector podcast on Instagram. My website is www.lashaypricephotography.com. And in conjunction with the branding shop, we just launched the Her Connection, or Her Collection.
Yes.
I am her, and it's just basically a collection of teas that are geared towards entrepreneurs and the different facets of being her in business. So, yeah, that's it.
Yes. We love that. I will place LaShay's information in the description box as well as the episode notes, so you guys can get a direct link to check out all the good things that she's doing. Thank you for dropping these gems for us and for the people this week. I really appreciate it. Yes, and so make sure you guys leave a review and a rating if you enjoyed the podcast, because I'm sure you picked up something from today's episode. And make sure y'all tune in next week for some more Bossed Up Gems. I have some more guests coming on the show, so I'm super excited about that. And until next week, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and feel free to connect with me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Slim Reshae. That's SlimReshae. Links will be listed in the show notes. And until next time, love yourself and be beautiful. When you're bad, when you need to find your purpose, come this way. Uncut Gems.